everybody, and welcome in to the Getting More Patience course. We are so excited to start off on like some of the more actionable items in terms of actual selling strategies. So much of what we've gone through so far is mindset and how to set up the sales, how to set up your business, and really how to sell yourself on yourself. So now let's get into some of the more, technical aspects of selling somebody else.
Yeah.
So what we want to hit is question-based selling. How to formulate and ask the right questions to really help set up the sale.
Gotcha.
So tell us a little more.
So basically what I would say is question-based selling, it all begins with most salespeople try to convince. They think, I need to convince and I need to tell this person, why it's good, why it's better, whatever. And that's great. And some people are persuasive enough to just talk their way into it, but most people are not. And so the stronger strategy is just to have the person that you're selling sell themselves in the correct way, meaning
I love that.
You ask questions so that the person understands what it is that is the problem, and then what it is and how you can help solve that problem. Because customers, all of us, I'm not going to pretend like we're not customers too to other people. We're delusional, and we think that we don't have certain issues or concerns, and we like stuff those away. And so by asking quality questions, it makes it come out and go like, oh, you know what, I totally forgot that this was something that I wanted to fix, or this was something I wanted to solve, because I've just like pushed it to the side for so long and just never fully addressed anything.
So true.
So question-based selling helps you do that, because then as they start to say out loud, it makes your job a lot easier, because then they're like, oh, well, yeah, I do have this thing that I want to get better at, and your solution makes sense for me to take advantage of. So
I love that, being able to help them think through the process just by asking the right questions. So it's not you having to force your ideas on them. You just ask the question that helps them get there to where they're like, oh yeah, I guess I do want that, and I do want this, and I guess I am ready to make that decision, right?
So this is the perfect time to develop your 25 questions that are congruent with your personality, where you are writing down, okay, what are the questions that both me and the client or customer or patient needs to answer to understand what direction we need to go in, and then write those down based on how congruent it is with your personality. And then literally, just like an actor, start practicing. Rehearse the questions so that you remember them like the back of your hand, so that as you're talking to the patient, you're able to be creative and be in that creative space and not be too worried about, okay, what do I ask next? Instead, you just know your series of questions that you're going to ask, and it just flows very smooth.
So assignment is write out 25 questions and do it today. Do it right now. And then read through those questions in front of the mirror. Act like you're saying them to an actual person. Imagine how they would respond to those questions. And then, you can even think of another few questions to respond to their objections or questions or whatever. You said you had your salesman do the 25 questions every day for a while, right?
Every single, and then what we would do is we would go over what those questions were. So we'd play the question game, which is you have to keep asking a question until the timer goes off. And so
that's awesome.
So you have to sit there and feel the awkward feeling, because when you first start it, you feel awkward. You don't want to ask questions. You don't even want to be selling, right? But when you start practicing, it's training yourself to get used to asking the questions. So play the question game, write a bunch of questions down, and then the way you do it is you just go, hey, what are your goals? And then the other person answers, and then you find a way to keep asking more questions based on the. It doesn't have to be work related. You could do this with your wife or your friend or your spouse or kid, whatever. Just ask them questions. Just keep doing it.
Yeah. Get comfortable with thinking through those processes of asking questions that kind of lead to where you want them to go with the conversation. So that's part of the assignment then, especially if you've got a group practice or a group sales team, right? So think of all of your clinicians in your clinic, or all of your trainers or whatever. Think of them all as part of your sales team. They really are your sales force. And so think of them as your sales team, and have a team meeting where you go through and have them do this questions drill.
Yep.
And set a timer and make them keep asking questions for that time. I love that idea.
And if anyone doesn't do it, let's say they go, I don't do that, or that's not my style. Go ahead and track all the people in your group and see who is performing the best and the worst. There's usually a correlation between how invested they are in playing the question game and taking action versus not.
Right. Well, and that's I listened to one kind of guru in marketing and sales, and he said just fire them. So, right? Like if they're not willing to play that game and learn, then they may not be the right employee for your business. I don't know if you want to go quite that extreme right off the bat, but it is a good indicator of somebody that's not willing to step outside their comfort zone is probably not going to be willing to help people get there in that journey to step outside their comfort zone and say yes to something that they really need. And
when it's also a good indicator that when you leave your practice and maybe you go on vacation or something like that, they're probably not going to be asking the questions necessary and representing your business the way you'd want them to. So this is a great way to train and get a good understanding of who are your best communicators,
right?
Who are the people that are the most invested,
right?
And then you focus, like the 80-20 rule, focus more on the people that are more invested, because those people will skyrocket your business.
They will, yeah. And honestly, those types of things are how you can make decisions on who's getting paid the most and who's really most valuable to your company. That's a big question that so many employees have is like, why, should I get a raise? Should I blah, blah, blah? And I
don't know, should you?
Yeah.
The question game.
Yeah, the question game. Yeah, there you go. But that's a great way to determine it is how willing are they to learn and change, and really big way that reflects is in their sales process.
Exactly.
And are they closing sales? And we've addressed that before. Everyone's a salesman. Salespeople or every single employee in your chain really have some part to do with the sales. And so making sure that they can ask these questions, that they're really good at coming up with question after question, so that they help people answer those questions on their own and get there to where we want them to go. That's super critical. Love it. Okay, so question-based selling, there's your assignments. Make sure to write down your 25 questions, think through them, act through them in front of the mirror, or even record yourself on your phone and watch it back and see how you do with the questions and really give yourself some feedback, and then play those out with your team as well. Play the game. So 25 questions every single day for a little while. Try it for a week or a month, whatever you feel like you need to do to hone in your question asking ability, and you'll definitely become better at asking those key questions. So awesome stuff. Thanks so much, Greg. And we'll catch you guys in the next video. More selling strategies to come.